How my day is shaped up. Let's see. It's July 16th, 2022. Um, I was looking for something to watch, and up pops some new show called The Anarchists, and I'm like, whoa, like that is something to stay away from and could get yourself in trouble. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Uh, so I watched maybe about 15 minutes of it in like a filmmaker kind of a way to see what they're all up to. They have reference to an inlet and a bay, Bay. I thought that was interesting. It takes place in some southern region in central southern region in America, whatever, as some like really long vertical strip of terra firma. Um, and then I'm looking at their symbol, and I'm like, wait a minute. Their symbol looks like the Avengers symbol. Now, the Avengers, I found out, is this MCU. Now, here's where I'm having like a real problem is I found out the Korean money system's a won, WON. And then I'm looking at Estonia jumping hurdles, and they say that he comes from a place called the Magi, Magi, and he's wearing blue. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. The Magi is important in Christianity, but nobody ever really knows what for. I don't really know that there was like a second name for Estonia, that it goes by this four letter symbol that, other than the umlaut, works pretty cohesively with the symbols that I work off of. I'm like, hmm. That's interesting. And in this world where I am in this North America, there's something that's going on with this like I-1 system. But the WON is a Korean money system, which really frightens me. Especially being this blue red yin yang cola war. Magi region might know a little more about that than I do. So I'm like, this is interesting. Then I'm like, so the Avengers symbol, Marvel Studios Avengers in this Endgame. I mean, again, call again. Expected me to say Cattaruzza, but instead I said hello, and he said hella, and I said hello, and he said call again, and I'm like, I was so confused because that way of greeting people was not taught to me just yet, and it was in a faraway land, and I never met anybody else that I'm aware of that announced themselves like that. I thought it very interesting from like a human perspective, and growing up without whatever. Um, so, um, so that's interesting. So then I started watching because the Endgame now has some TNT to it. I started watching it. There's an archery scene, which reminds me of Robin Hood Day School, where some really great men came and were teaching archery to the children. Same place I learned how to swim. Lynn and Lou sent me. Let's see. In this movie, though, that came out in 2019, and in the movie 2019, it has some reference to this mechanical blue lady, which is really interesting. Um, Not sure how that ties into things. I also saw at Hurdles there was a reference with the Sweden, I think it's the Sweden flag, and his, which was interesting considering that they don't really teach about whatever this level of human in this area. It's just a whole different wax ball, I guess. Um, so I thought that was interesting. All new discoveries for me, by the way. Um, I also watched the end of Westworld, season 4, episode 3, where they go into this drone laboratory and the flies, and then the trusting of this child that doesn't look like the father, and then the face opening up, the black flies coming out, and a parasite being infected to the what almost looks like an Albus Dumbledore, like kind of sort of in this moment, in this one scene. That's what it looks like. Um, it does not look like the entire wizarding world and Fantastic Beasts. I mean, he stayed cohesively beautiful through the movie. But in Westworld, they almost have this, and they even mention it. They said there's like the Wild West, which they don't have numbers on. Then they use 1920s for this season. And then there's the modern world of whenever that's supposed to be. Um, for fragments of construct in an English that I can follow along with finally, since they're not really good at this physical contact and showing me any kind of affection in the way that I have come to expect based on the bar that the one American I will speak kindly of, which is Michael, from 1979. He's the only one I will speak respectfully on at the moment. For that St. John's year, in adding insult to injury, in the local area. I should mention also that this crazy donkey, I mean, I call him a shitbag, but whatever. He got married at La Mer, M-E-R, same day as one of my cousins from Linda's side of the family. Um, Again, and it was on a 718. So, don't know what that was about. Don't know why I had Tia Frio trailing me, Nora lending me a dress, and sending me to that place. I really could have used Niklaus or Nicholas. I really wanted no time on the field after the problems that have been going on in the local area that I know they know about. I just don't understand why it's not being used to help my person get to RH negative. I need Rhino. I've already made peace with the crazy donkey and the elephant that's been a real big problem in this area. So, on Rhino standards, where is my person that won't harm me by star darts in an RH negative acceptable? I really don't care what the sorry excuse for humanity has done thus far for this purpose. I need to get to where I need to be secure, so then they can do whatever it is that needs to be done and whatever it is that they do when I'm just waiting around. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.